Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video idea sort of series on my channel that I'm doing. And if people like it, maybe I'll keep doing it. But that idea is live team building. So I don't want to build any of my teams live because I think like the quality of teams won't be good enough, and also I just don't like to do that. But I think there's a lot to be learned about me, or like from other people watching me start to finish go over the process and thought process of doing a team, even though it's not entirely as thorough as my own would be. So I decided a good compromise would be to take a match of someone else's and build quick, small, or complete teams, but like not as thorough as they normally would be, if that makes sense. So I decided to just build two teams for examples versus Jolty and Reggie. I'll build one team for each side of what I would bring, given this sort of time frame to build. And so this series will be two parts. I'll build both teams, and then I'll upload it after the battle and include the battle and see how close I was, and also some commentary on the battle. So hopefully that's interesting. But I actually have not looked at this matchup purposely until like just now. I'm like just now looking at the mods. So I'll start with Jolty since he's on top, I guess. So Jolty's best offensive mods, just in general on his team, are Torn and Sceptile. So I'd first look at Torn because it's definitely his biggest threat, and in terms of speed tiers, it does outrun his entire team, bar Talonflame, which is good for him. So the most likely checks by far are Rotom and T-Tar. Both of them are susceptible to being U-turned on, so Torn is going to be able to act pretty well as a pivot this game, because it can come in on things like, say, Gallade, possibly Pharaoh, threatened Heat Wave, anything that's weakened, Lando. They have to switch out. He'll be able to get off a U-turn on either Rotom or T-Tar, do significant damage to T-Tar, or decent chip on Rotom, and be able to bring in his Sceptile. So first thing I would do, just slap on Torn. I'd also slap on Sceptile because it's his best offensive member, and you definitely want to come in after that U-turn. Sceptile is also a fantastic check to Rotom because it can block Volt switches and also doesn't fear Wisp and doesn't fear Pump. And Rotom's usually a very annoying mon. So past that, he would definitely definitely need to be wary of T-Tar's Pursuit. So probably wants to bring a mon that deals well with T-Tar in general. That kind of just calls for Cobalion, because that is really the only thing on his team that can reliably deal with it, and it does for the most part. Its defense is very good. It resists both stabs. It has to fear Earthquake, but a Shuka can resolve that if necessary, and even then, Cobalion's natural defense is so high that it can take it on. So I would toss on Cobalion too. There's calcs. Alright, so the way I see Jolty winning this game is just off of face value. Well, first I would look at what Reggie has to switch into Sceptile. Once it fires off this grass move. If it's running the coverage of, well, first the grass move, his initial grass resist would be Pharaoh, but if it's running HP Fire, then that is no bueno for Reggie. Kyurem, but Dragon Pulse hits it hard. Scarf Kyurem makes sense, but it's risky because if he just gets D-Pulse, he's done. So he's probably just going to have to bring some more Spadef Mons and rely on them being able to take him down. But I would say, based on the breaking potential of Torn plus Sceptile together, that Jolty really has a good matchup advantage here. So yeah, perhaps Pharaoh with Gyro can do significant damage to Sceptile, but I doubt it can kill in one hit, but okay. Yeah, it does a lot, but not quite a kill. Akka could lessen damage, so Jolty would have to be careful of that. So Torn, I would say, definitely wants Hurricane this matchup because I'm fairly sure Hurricane kills Gallade while Air Slash does not, but I'll pull up that calc just for the sake of it. And not quite, but plus U-turn, yeah, it's just general better damage. Hurricane plus U-turn are givens. I'll fill out the rest of it later. I'm thinking it's going to be Rocky Helmet though to help better deal with that Gallade. Also put it into the chip range of Hurricane. On the Sceptile, he's definitely going to, I would say he wants Leaf Storm for that nuke, but also wants Giga Drain for that consistent damage, because if you Leaf Storm into Pharaoh, you're in a really bad spot. Hidden Power Fire, because then your subsequent Hidden Power Fire won't do much. He gets free rocks. And probably Dragon Pulse makes the most sense. Speed tiers, what does he need to hit? Glade needs to be, what's his face? Talon's the next fastest dude. If he wanted to, he could speed creep Talon, speed creeping Torn, and just go 2 points faster than Torn, but they're pretty similar in speed, so I wouldn't even bother. I would bother risking it. 286, 287. Doesn't leave a ton of room for bulk though, but I think that would be fine to set right here and can go modest. Hit hard. Check that Rotom. I can picture Hidden Power Ice Rotom coming to snag this Sceptile on the switch because it's pretty obvious, so if I were Jolty, I would take advantage of that and actually go into not Sceptile, because it will be very obvious, and he probably will be having HP Ice, because that hits the 2 things to stop the full switch. Rotom will still be annoying, just because it has that ability to be HP Ice here. Torn's definitely going to want Heat Wave. I think the last move likely comes to be Defog, but I'll see later. This definitely needs to outrun Gallade at a minimum, which is 350. Does it need to outrun anything else? No, I hit 351 with it. I wouldn't fuck around with not outrunning Gallade, because it's such a big threat that you can't really risk that with your Torn. Especially because Reggie sometimes likes to purposely do weird speed tiers to throw people off. This Cobalion, I'm not gonna I like to build my offense first, and then with my defense kind of fill out where I feel my offense lacks and what I will need to end up switching into. So in this case, if you say you're in a scenario where you need to Hurricane into Gallade, otherwise you're in a bad spot and you can't risk U-turning, and you Hurricane and then you Hurricane into T-Tar, then you'll need Cobalion to switch into that T-Tar. Other scenarios, Scarf Kyurem will be forcing either of these out. I think Scarf Kyurem's actually a good bring here. Likely to come. I'll likely put it on Reggie's side, but against his offense, it does very well. The most likely check to that is going to be the Sylveon, and I would just probably slap the Sylveon now. Scarf Kyurem is likely going to be coming in to revenge Jolty's 2 members, because that just makes the most sense. What else is going to do it? Maybe Talon, but I doubt it. Talon doesn't even revenge Torn well. No, it's not going to be Lando. Scarf Kyurem is the biggest, most likely revenger I'm seeing here. And regardless, yeah, no, I think Scarf Kyurem just makes the most sense here. But what is going to be Reggie's Hyper Voice switching? Tentacruel or Pharaoh? So Sylveon, in this case, you want to be able to come in on the Ice Beam, and it's obviously never going to stay in, so you want Sylveon to do something worthwhile after getting hit by that Ice Beam, because you know one of Tentacruel or Pharaoh is coming in. So you could run HP Fire, plus Psyshock if you wanted to. You could even like Specs it if you wanted, but I don't think that's the right way to go. You can try and pass Wishes, but I don't know if there's anything worth. What would I do? Kind of tough, because I think Sylveon is kind of limited here by the fact that he has 2 decent checks. This is also why I stress the importance of being able to have multiple resistances to a type, or like when you're building, it's good to have multiple types of resistances to your opponent's key threats, because like say I was running HP Fire Specs, which I'm probably not going to do because I wouldn't anticipate this to happen surely, and it's a high risk set. But if I do that, and I do get my Sylveon in on Kyurem, and Tentacruel's not there, then HP Fire is very easy to click, because I don't have to fear Tentacruel coming in on that HP Fire, and he's never staying in, and even if he is, I'm getting decent damage. And he's not getting decent damage on me. Just an example of, but I don't know. I would, for now at least, throw on Pixelate, Hyper Voice, Wish, Protect, because those are all givens. I guess the last move. Last move can be changed in the item, but I would worry about that later. In terms of other things you're going to need on this team, I would say Necrozma has to come for the Gallade. Yeah. I do believe Necrozma is faster than T-Tar always if it wants to be, right? 79, 61, yeah. So that's good for Reggie, or good for Jolty as well. I'd say Jolty has a matchup advantage here. And the Lando is also pretty unaccounted for with the team that I've built up until this point. Rotom can be checked decently by the by Sceptile. Is going to be obvious. He's going to have HP Ice, so you probably have to change it up. Like maybe go Sylveon the first time, because he's going to HP Ice and then Wish and get the momentum, because you know him HP Icing into Sylveon isn't that big a deal. And after you Wish, you can get into anything off of his Volt Switch. And then after that, it's going to be a bit of a guessing game whether he continues to HP Ice or just Volt. But at the very least, you can kind of condition him. Kyurem can just dealt well with by Sylveon. Tentacruel will most likely just end up being dealt with by Necrozma, but it's not faster than most of the team and not strong enough to threaten most of, or like anything I've built up to this point really. Stoutland could possibly come, but Cobalion deals with it fairly well. Gallade is definitely going to be an issue, but Necrozma will be coming for it. T-Tar, Cobalion can deal well with. Everything's going to have coverage for Pharaoh. Pharaoh is kind of too slow to get in on most things. Like HP Fire will hit it, Heat Wave will hit it. I might give it HP Fire on Sylveon. Like worst case scenario, if not, it'll always have a Wish in the air before Pharaoh comes in, and I can pass it probably into Torrent as I put up a defog. But what I would worry about is T-Wave Pharaoh, because T-Wave Pharaoh can definitely keep Torrent out, but Torrent can keep Pharaoh's rocks off. But if I make the last slot on Sylvia and Heal Build, then I don't have to fear T-Wave nearly as much. So I think that's what I'll do. Talonflame is definitely going to be an issue. I think a max defense Sylveon is okay-ish against it, but I would actually probably aim for something that checks both Talonflame and Lando as the last slot, because that is definitely looking to be the biggest threat at this point. Raichu a little, or no, that's regular Raichu. I wouldn't fear that as Jolty. So yeah, for this last slot, I feel the two weakest Monties are is Talonflame and Lando, and I think Mantine likely fits that bill best. It could be Rocky and Lando. I think either Scarf Flagon or Mantine has to fill that void. Maybe Mudsdale, but like Mudsdale can be set up fodder lots of times for Lando. Scarf Flagon's convenient because it outruns Scarf Kyurem, but it doesn't do much back to Lando. Does Flagon get Ice Beam? I feel like for some reason it might. Special attack isn't terrible. No, it doesn't get Ice Beam. Does it get Blizzard? No. I feel like it gets Fire Blast at the very least, yeah. So for some reason the pseudo-legendaries sometimes get moves like that. I think Mantine's going to be the most consistent one for that last slot though. Last move here I said would be Heal Bill. Probably just give it Leftovers max defense. It's the easiest way to go. Cobalion will have to be the rocker here, likely. Necrozma could do it, but I feel like it's probably going to want more moves. Cobalion will be able to get rocks up versus pretty much T-Tar, who's going to switch in on his CC though, when you CC against T-Tar. It's going to have to be like Tenna, Lando, or maybe Glade. I would toss HP Ice on this guy. Go mixed to bop that Lando on the switch if necessary. And probably Volt to hit the Tenta and also grab momentum. This looks like a pretty solid set, or at the very least good enough for what I'm throwing together here. Items. I would be surprised if what does CC look like against a T-Tar? This is going to be a max attack one, but I don't know what the one I'm building on the team. Okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't even need any investment to kill. I would likely make this Shuka. It makes it a more safe switch into Lando, or a more safe switch into T-Tar, because even if it predicts Earthquake, it's fine. You can stay in on Lando if you want later. I'd make this... I don't want to... I need to hit 328, but I don't know what stat I want to subtract, because I absolutely need defense. I need the attack, I'm pretty sure, to kill T-Tar. Like if I went timid. Yeah, that's not terrible. What does it look like with HP Ice against Lando? If I'm Jolly. Not bad. I'm not sure. That Volt would hurt more on things like Tentacruel and stuff after. It would also hit Talonflame if he wants to try and burn on the CC. I think I'll make it timid. Hit 328. Or this could... No, never mind. Yeah, it just needs to be faster than... What's his face? Wait, what am I thinking of? Tentacruel, yeah. So you can get a faster Volt out on him. I just make it as bulky as possible. Maybe throw a little bit in Spatak. Past that, let's go to Mantine because it's the more easy one to deal with. You're definitely going to want Scald for sure. I'd say Defog and Roost are given as well. So you can keep rocks off for his Lando. This will probably be max defense. What's going to come in on this thing's Scalds? It's likely going to be Rotom. That is the only thing that really deals with this. I would throw Toxic on this then. Getting a Toxic on that Rotom is very valuable, especially for Torn late game. Just make it max defense to deal with Lando, and it can take hits from Gallade if it needs to better. I would either make it... I don't know. What would I be expecting this to take? I'd probably just throw on leftovers, because like, maybe Wakan could help, but I doubt it. A Helmet could help with U-turns against Lando. Yeah, I think I'd give it Helmet, actually. So him together with Lando can really kind of chip down Lando and Gallade, I would think. Same thing with Talonflame. And if Talonflame wants to U-turn, it's going to get punished for it because of the helmet. What is this last move? Is it better to be Defog? I would think so. Unless... you want to go Focus Blast, which I could see being useful. I'd say either Focus Blast or Defog are both valid here. I'm going to throw on Defog just to keep Pharaoh's rocks off, but Focus Blast could be fine too. Now this guy. Definitely always want to be faster than T-Tar, so I'll load up this one here. 243, gotta be 244. There we are. Fuck. God damn. So. It'll be coming in on the Gallade. Probably firing off a Psychic move. And the Psychic resists are the T-Tar and the Pharaoh. So I think a mixed set could actually do well here. So like Photon, Heat Wave, Brick Break. It doesn't get any like fighting like Focus Blast or anything, right? Yeah, Brick Break hits just as hard. It resists T-Tar anyways. And then Moonlight for the recovery, obviously. What does this look like against T-Tar? Brick Break. Fuck you. Not too great. So Titanium Z is reasonable. I think Jolty would want at least something that can He would want a Z move on this so that it can take Glade's knockoffs better. Photon Geyser is doing a solid amount. But yeah, Glade, it'll do certainly a lot less because of what's its ability, Prism Armor, but it's still doing more than the rest of the moves. But if you switch this to a Z, you can significantly reduce the power of that. Yeah, I think Fight EMZ makes the most sense. Just go like max HP and then some special attack with. Would I just want to leave it a neutral nature? I think I probably would, because it looked like that was a roll to kill, right? With the Phytinium. Oh, I changed it. Oh, whatever. I would kind of almost want a physical Photon Geyser, though, because I think that might hit Glade harder. I'll see how much harder it hits, though. You definitely want to at least do a KO, and Glade has good SPDF, which is why I was thinking. I'll say I threw a fair amount into there. Went for the physical Photon Geyser. It is doing a significant amount more. I think Photon Geyser, it's like when one attack stat exceeds the other, then it switches, right? So once it hits 290, right? So it's doing 42 to 50. Yeah, then 49 to 58. I would do that then. So whatever attack it needs to hit 291. That way the break does more, and the Photon Geyser does more as well. So yeah, I'd say this is the team right here. So that's the first half of the video. The second half, we'll build from the opposite side. Where would I start here? What do I think Reggie's win conditions are here? Like I said, I do believe Reggie has a tougher matchup. His flying resists are fairly limited, so Talonflame can do a lot here. It's going to have issues breaking through things like the defensive Mantine that I did build on the other side, Mudsdale, if Jolty decides to bring it. But it can be solid. Yeah, this is tough for Jolty. Glade can do okay in terms of breaking, but Torn comes in pretty easily on it, and Necrozma also is a pretty tough for it to break, especially if it runs Z. What about Lando here? I think if played right, Lando can always claim here, but it's never gonna really take control of the game. Yeah, I would say Jolty actually has a very strong matchup advantage here. This is tough to build for Reggie. Rocks are definitely important for Reggie, because the flying types are going to be what's checking his Lando. And his Glade, similarly. In bad matchups, usually getting up rocks and keeping them is really important, because you need every bit of damage you can get. And for the most part, rocks are something that are always going to help you no matter how bad the matchup is. Does DDT Tar do anything here? To be honest, I would think if you can get his T-Tar up to +2, that's a decent win condition for him. Mudsdale could come and stomp on that parade, but this is hard. It would need to be able to break a Cobalion, and Cobalion's very likely to be Shuka. Like as you saw, I built it with Shuka on the other side. If you could find a way to chip the Cobalion, possibly. I'm just having a hard time really seeing what on Reggie's team actually pulls this game out at the end. If Sylveon weren't there, I'd say maybe Scarf Kyurem is a decent win condition here. But Sylveon is there. Same thing with Cobalion. I don't know, does he have anything that can take advantage of the Sylveon? Not really. I do like Talonflame here, and Rotom, so I'll throw those both on initially. I think Scarf Kyurem is good just as a revenger threat, even if it's not necessarily going to be able to win the game. Likely Lando as well, just because it's too good of a mon to not leave at home, especially when nothing has a particularly good matchup here. So Pharaoh has to come as well to deal with the Sceptile. It also deals with Sylveon. You can deal with Cobalion. Deals with Mantine. Sets rocks. Well, at this point, he's got Glade. Does he just bring Glade? Glade and T-Tar are the most viable last spot brings, I think. I just can't ever see Glade doing too much with Necrozma and Torn both around. T-Tar gets shut down pretty hard by Cobalion. I'll start building the rest of it, I suppose. So I think SD Talon can do really well here. It's going to have trouble breaking past just pretty much anything with a lot of defense, but late game I can definitely see it pulling through. Like for how much does this do? For example, against what is his face? Sylveon. Solid. Only needs a little bit of chip. It kills a Tauren, right? There's no way it doesn't kill Tauren. Yeah, it kills Tauren. Yeah, flying's quite unresisted on Jolte's team. So if I were Reggie, I would take advantage of that. What does he have to really go into on Talonflame? There is Mantine. Maybe U-turning with Talonflame is a win condition for him, because it can inspire so much fear for him, especially if it goes like Banded or something. Yeah, I think Talonflame's his top threat. Talonflame is his way of winning. especially because it can threaten out Sceptile with its Gale Wings. It's going to need to avoid chip at all times, so it'll have to look out for it. This is like a situation where if he brings, like, say, Helmet Mantine or Helmet Torn like I had, those U-turns become a lot less safe because Jolty would ideally like to come in on Sceptile and threaten to have Gale Wings, so he has to switch out and he U-turns instead. But if it gets hit by that helmet that I did have on the other side, then that would be really bad for him. I don't know how much I would have considered that had I not built for the other side, which is kind of an advantage of you sometimes trying to build a team for the other side. I actually do that fairly often, so you can actually try and do that if you want to. What takes advantage of Mantine and Torn, though, I would say, is probably T-Tar. It can pursue them. I don't think Torn even does that. What am I saying? Is it just Mantine who really comes in? I don't know if I'd rather see him just like try and win with this or just break. I'd say banned or SD is definitely the way to go, though. What does he have to switch into T-Tar Stone Edge? Cobalion, obviously. Yeah, I'd throw T-Tar on and try and pressure the Mantine out. I think that's his best course of action. Oh wait, gets on Nerve. That could be nice to smack Cobalion through Shuka. I like the choice band, honestly. And then last move I'd probably just throw on Defog or Roost, so that you can get that off late game if you ever need to. If you know you're going to switch out the following turn. With Torrent's max speed, I'll delete T-Tar for a sec. $75. What did I do? I hit the import button and then missed the... So right there is the set. So the Rotom, like I said before, Volt, Pump, HP Ice are the easy moves. This Rotom will be a pain in the ass for Reggie to deal with. I think Toxic is the most worthwhile last move. Probably just give it lefties for the general regen. Anything this thing needs to outspeed. I'd say maybe Necrozma, but I really wouldn't worry too much about it. I might speed creep Necrozma's speed creep from before. I don't know, what does that look like? 244? So it'd be 245. If he wants to speed creep the Necrozma speed creeping T-Tar. Is that worth? I don't know, you go either way. We'd probably want a decent amount of speed up though to switch in on Torn reliably. Torn can't run Grassium, so it's really just gonna U-turn on it most of the time, I would think. I'd probably try and bring something that at the very least annoys Torn for trying to U-turn as much as it would want to. Kyurem is always going to be Scarf. Ice Beam. Ice Beam, probably Flash Cannon, Earth Power, Draco. Draco just is always just like a generally nice nuke to have lying around. Like if you're in a scenario where you're like, wow, I really need to kill this, going something and clicking Draco is always a good option. How fast does this want to be? To be honest, you can go for a pretty aggressive speed creep here, because you're never going to... Scarf Flagon is always going to be faster if it comes. Scarf Necrozma is not a thing. So yeah, you could just speed creep Sceptile. If you really want to, you can speed creep Sceptile, speed creep from here. But I would just speed creep Sceptile. I'll delete the T-Tar again and add him back on. This is actually one of the most annoying things to me. Is having to delete mons and put them back on. Or just to like find out speed. Use 428. Fuck. I can't remember if it was if I needed to hit 428 or if it was 428. I think I need to hit 428. Yeah, I was right. So I'll just math it out my calculator real quick. So 286 is the magic number. Max that special attack, make it modest. Where's modest? Here we are. I would actually almost consider a nerve T-Tar here, like legitimately. What is this SPDF boost useful for? Like surely useful for. Taking hits from Torn definitely, and from Sylveon definitely. Is it worth it? Probably, to be honest. And you get the chip with it. I would make this... I'd probably just make it Band Pursuit. I don't know if you want to be banded into Pursuit in case he goes for like a fast Scald. But I don't think you ever risk Mantine either. I don't know. Well, could a Nerve T-Tar with Choice Band actually just straight up kill a Cobalion? Because if it can, then it might be worth it. If it's a no HP Cobalion, that's unlikely though, but it's possible. But it does weaken it to the point where Stone Edge probably claims. To be honest, I'd probably do it. You want Edge, Crunch Pursuit real quick. Anything you need to add speed. I'd speed creep, no speed Mantine probably. 70, so you toss this extra 8 in. 179 would hit. Go max attack adamant with a solid amount of HP. So it leaves Pharaoh. Definitely need rocks on this guy. Akka. Is there any moves that actually kill Sceptile? No, I think it would just have to be Gyro and hope for the best. I would throw on T-Wave to punish the Torn Switch. On the Gyro. Is there another move it would need? Maybe just spikes to be more annoying than it would otherwise, but Elite Seed, obviously. Whoops. Max this out. I'd probably just make max spit off because this team is weak to, certainly weak to Sceptile. Careful. So last Lander T, what exactly do you want to do? You could probably just go an SD set and have it claim. Could go Scarf, but I don't know if I like Scarf here. Can Scarf and then U-turn on his flying types and then have T-Tar pursuit them though and kind of synergize with Talon, I suppose. I'd say it's either gonna have to be Rockium or actually could Agility or Rock Polish Lando get it done here? Potentially with Rockium. You could blow past everything, assuming no Mud still. Or maybe Mud still gets shipped down. I'd probably throw it on at this point. Go like Rock Polish, EQ, Stone Edge for sure, Rockium. I guess SD maybe for the last slot. If you can potentially get off 2 dances. Maybe bulk up if you want to set up on something that would be hitting you physically. Yeah, I guess just SD. Why not? I would make this faster than Scarf Flagon always, after +2. So that'd be 328. 1.5 is 492, so you'd hit 494. Divided by 2 is 247. So you can run a solid amount of bulk with that. It's a pretty middling speed tier, so there's nothing critical you needed to outrun. Like, yeah, it's just nothing incredibly important that you can't not always outrun. So I don't think it's an issue to have speed like that before the rock polish. I'd say the issues with this team currently, that it relies a lot on Talonflame and doesn't have a defogger. I might, well, where did Jolte's rockers? Necrozma and Cobalion. I'd probably toss defog on this over Toxic. And yeah, so these are my teams from both sides. Let's see how accurate they are once you actually get into battle. And yeah, that's it for this segment. And I'll probably record the next segment after the battle happens. Hello everyone, and welcome to the battle portion of this video. I'm actually recording this like over a week after, so unfortunately the teams aren't super fresh in my mind, but I did look back over them to try and refresh them. I actually have not watched this battle, or like I really kind of like skipped through it extremely carelessly, so like I really don't know what happens in this battle. So I'm actually like purposely going into it blind so I can more look at it at a step-by-step basis rather than knowing what's going to happen and trying to give my thoughts on what's going to happen without a hindsight bias. Although I do know who wins, I don't know how they win. So, off of face value, Jolte has pretty much the same 6 I made for the team. He has Mudsteel over Cobalion. Cobalion I had brought as a check to T-Tar. But Mudsteel works fine as well in that scenario. Cobalion also gets rocks and checks T-Tar just as well as Mudsteel does. Cobalion offers some more speed and utility, and Mudsteel offers a bit more checking power versus Gallade and Lando. But they have sort of similar roles, so I'd say we're on a pretty similar. I had a pretty similar team to what Jolte brought, or at the very least in terms of the mons. We'll have to see what the sets look like. On Reggie's side, a lot went different. He has the Aroma, which I didn't bring at all. I really don't see what Aroma's role is here. It doesn't resist anything key on Jolte's team besides D-Pulse, but Sceptile is probably going to want to be spamming grass move here anyways. He brought Mega Glade, which I can understand. I didn't bring it because I felt that Jolte had too many solid checks for it, but it makes sense. It's a really good mon. Tentacruel, I'm not entirely sure why Tentacruel is here either. Maybe for a very specially defensive check to Sceptile, but I really can't see what it's going to do here. What I really think Reggie needed was Pharaoh. Pharaoh is going to do much more work. Also, a key reason to have Cobalion over Mudsteel is to deal better with the Pharaoh. But Mudsteel still does fine and offers that extra checking value. But without Pharaoh, he has absolutely 0 grass resist, and Sceptile was already a big threat to him. So he actually has no grass resists, so this is probably not looking good for Reggie off of face value, because this Sceptile has a massively good matchup, and he has no grass resist to stop it. What did I just drop? I don't even know. Yeah, so I really think the Pharaoh should have come. Pharaoh was able to get up rocks, check the Sylveon, check the Sceptile. I think it was a really important bring here. I'm not sure why it's not here. I think Gaka Pharaoh really should have come. But anyways, getting into game and how my prep differs. If I'm Reggie, you have to. I think you should lead something that counters the Sceptile for sure, because Sceptile's a very safe lead for Jolte, and if you don't go into something that counters it, then you're in trouble. So probably Glade, because it's got enough Spit F to live anything and probably threaten it back. Or maybe the Aroma, if it's got enough special defense, maybe a Scarflanda. But that's about it. I would probably lead Glade if I were Reggie, anticipating the this Sceptile lead, but you're also in a bad scenario if he leads Mudsteel, because he gets free rocks But if Rotom has defog, that's not too bad. Also, another reason to go Cobalion is it deals better with the Rotom coming in, although they both don't do super well. But anyways, yeah, I'd say Sceptile's a fairly safe lead on Jolte's side if he wants to, but if he wants to really hard anticipate the Gallade, he can lead Mudsdale too. Mudsdale beats anything that's not his water and instantly throws up rocks. Torn isn't a bad lead too if he wants to anticipate the Gallade. Let's see what they lead with. Rotom versus Necrozma. So I got both of them wrong. Maybe Jolte wants early rocks on Necrozma and the Mudsdale isn't rocks. I'm not sure why Jolte or why Reggie ever would have led with Rotom. Maybe he really anticipated Mudsdale to counter the Gallade. That's the only thing I can think of, because that's extremely risky to lead when Sceptile is a very realistic possibility. I expect Reggie to either fire up a Toxic or Volt Switch out. He probably wants to keep this at least decently healthy to deal with the Torn. So, he probably. The only thing I could think of is that he anticipated either Mudsdale or Torn to counter lead the Gallade. And Necrozma is probably to counter lead Gallade too, I would guess. If I'm Jolte, you probably just fire off rocks if you have it. Maybe start setting up Calm Minds if you have it, but that's risky if this is a Toxic variant. I'd say you either fire off your Toxic or just Volt Switch out. If you're decently fast, you might not want to take a Photon Geyser from a fast Necrozma though. Okay, so he does go for the Toxic. So doesn't want to get set up on by any Necrozmas, which is understandable, and Jolte doesn't want to risk getting Toxic by anything. He misses Toxic, which is pretty unfortunate. I would assume he probably has Heal Bell though, if that's the case. I think Jolte's pretty free to fire off a Wish here, and Reggie will probably just Volt. Yeah, he Volts. And Jolte will probably fire off the Wish just to get some momentum going on his side. Goes into the Aroma. No, he fires off a Hyper Voice. I probably would fire it off the Wish, just because like Hyper Voicing into Tentacruel or Aroma doesn't get you very much. But it still works. Aroma doesn't really directly threaten this, so I don't know what's going to go on here. Reggie probably wants to Wish Pass into something, I would guess. He goes Torn. I guess just Jolte doesn't exactly know what to do against this, because it doesn't really do much. He just fires off a Wish. If I'm Jolte, he's probably just going to the Rotom or the T-Tar, so if you have U-Turn, you always click it. If he doesn't have U-Turn, then I don't know. I wouldn't want to Hurricane into T-Tar, because then you're liable to get pursued, so I would probably make the double into Sceptile, or just U-Turn if you have it. And I think he's probably going to go into one of the two. Yeah, goes into Rotom Wash. He doesn't... I don't like that play from Jolte, because if you went hard T-Tar, then you're getting pursued pretty hard, and getting very little off. You just don't get anything out of the turn. And it was pretty obvious that he wanted to Wish Pass, so I think either making the double into Sceptile or U-turning really put him in the best scenario. He didn't get anything out of that turn where he really could, where Reggie's play was really obvious, and it was really obvious what he could have done to get more out of it. Now he's taunted. Reggie's got quite a free Volt, because you don't want to go Mudsdale, because that never beats this. Alright, and Sceptile doesn't have its ability yet, so I think Volt is pretty free here. If you're Jolte, you can go Sceptile still if you don't mind getting Volted on, but he'll probably just go into something that can beat it right after, probably the Gallade. I don't know what you do if you're Jolte here. Maybe go Sylveon, but he doesn't have extremely good checks to it at the moment, since Sceptile isn't Mega yet. If he's real, he could go into the Mudsdale and then double into the Sceptile, but also Toxic is a fairly realistic possibility here too. So yeah, I think Reggie will just fire off a Toxic or a Volt Switch. And I guess just going Sylveon's probably Jolte's safest play, but I can see him going into Necrozma too. Maybe Sceptile. That was a weird play. He really wants damage on this. I don't think it was worth it. The Volt doesn't do too much, so he probably calced that earlier and was content taking that damage. But I don't think that Focus Blast really gets him too much, because now he'll probably, if T-Tar's pursued, then he's like super, yeah. He's playing his Torn really recklessly, kind of throwing it out when it really, it really could have been an extremely good pivot in aiding in bringing in Sceptile over and over again, and he just kind of threw it out like this entire time. It could have really been allowing Sceptile to go in and start putting work in. At the very least threatening him, forcing him to go into two things that Sceptile threatens, and instead it's gotten him absolutely zero value this game. So I think that was very poorly played by Jolte there. He goes into Necrozma. If this is Crunch, I don't know if this is really a favorable matchup for Jolte to be going into. Maybe it's likely defensive to deal with the Glade, but still, I don't know. T-Tart is powerful. Maybe it's banned though. Brick Break, yeah, it's Chompel. And it Toxics. So yeah, Reggie definitely wanted to put Necro on a timer, and putting Necro on a timer is always good. Because it's definitely a kind of mon that just sits around and is really annoying a lot of the time. So I can respect that by Reggie. I think Reggie will probably go into his Aroma or something here. Yeah, probably his Aroma. I think Jolte, I don't know what Jolte does here. It's not a very clear play. He could go Muds. I'd probably go Muds actually, try and get the rocks up. But I could see him staying in and trying to do something here. But I think the Aroma is actually fairly obvious. Yeah, he makes a double here. He goes into Glade. I don't know why he would go into Glade, because Glade doesn't really beat Necrozma. I guess with Toxic, maybe he can. But if it was like physical Photon Geyser, it's not a super winning matchup. He goes into Sylveon. I guess he wanted to Wish Pass into something. I don't know. I feel like going Mud still was the play, and getting up Rocks was the play that actually got Jolte something out of the turn. Because like he's not really getting anything done going into Sylveon, because Sylveon doesn't really pose a threat to his team, because he's got a Tentacruel. I guess at this point you can kind of just fire off a Wish, though. Yeah, so Reggie Throat Chops here. He actually was talking about this prep before the battle, so I'm not super surprised about this. He wanted us to make us that Hyper Voice couldn't kill him, but it like doesn't change much when he has like a Mudsdale as well. Although he could maybe SD to get by that, but I think Reggie ended up bringing like too little utility to actually, or like too little resources outside Throat Chop to actually deal with this. And it actually works. Wait, does it work? Yeah, it works. Then he can't use Hyper Voice. I still probably would have wished there. I don't know. Wish actually could be a bad play if he SDs, because then he can just SD again and you got nothing. So actually Hyper Voice makes more sense. Yeah. So at this point, probably just forced to go Mudsdale, I guess. Or maybe Mantine. Necrozma makes sense too, but I don't know. Yeah, Mudsdale. Is he Encores? Yeah, I don't know why you would Encore, because Jolte never was going to stay in there, because there's absolutely nothing he can do to gain in that scenario. Like, what was he going to do? Heal Bell? Wish? Like, you can just start SDing up or doing whatever you want. So I don't like the play of Encoring there. So now this is in. He'll probably just fire off an Earthquake or something, because this is a big threat. Maybe put up Rocks if he wants to play it aggressive, though. Yeah, he does get up Rocks. I think Jolty here has kind of been playing it in like a way where he's like, oh, once my Mudsdale happens to get in, I'll put up my rocks. Whereas you should really be looking for opportunities to get your Mon in who has rocks, because that is something that will offer you value and utility throughout the entirety of the battle. Going to like Sylveon or something is something where you might have to do it to respond to your opponent, but it doesn't get you anywhere, put you in a better position. From here, Jolty could very well stay in if he's got like a Toxic or something. Other than that, I don't think you want to go into Necrozma. I guess you either stay in with this or go into Mantine, I would say. Probably just Fire Switch Toxic, right? Heavy Slam? I don't know about that. That's like, you're intimidated. I probably would have only stayed in if you have Toxic. If this is Double Dance, you could be in some trouble. You don't want to give Lando setup opportunities this free. Yeah, now he goes Mantine, and is he going to drop to Skystrike? Yeah. If Reggie had Double Dance, I would have set up both. In the team I built, I did have the Double Dance, so that would have actually worked out quite well here. Because since Jolty decided to stay in there, he really kind of gave Reggie the opportunity to set up two boosts of anything. But now, since he didn't set up two boosts, Sceptile comes in quite freely here. Yeah. Leaf Storm's really free. Or Giga Drain, or whatever grass move you have. 44, that's not enough. So this is going to be an extremely obvious wish, but there's nothing that Jolty can do about it. I guess he'll probably go into... Now that Jolty has the rocks up and Reggie really hasn't been doing anything that forces him in a terrible scenario, I think once this Aroma gets a little too weak, I think Jolty will start to break and wear down his team. But this doesn't look like a super great scenario, because there's really not much you can do to respond to this. I'd probably go into Sylveon at this point. If Sylveon has Heal Bell, I would totally go into that and click it and get Necro healthy. If you're Reggie here, you have to wish. There's no way around it. Sylveon on Jolty's side, go Sylveon and wish, I guess. Or yeah, I don't know how else you break this thing. Maybe go Mudsdale and Heavy Slam. Yeah, if he's got Heal Bell, I think he clicks it here. Otherwise, I think he's just going to wish into something. He protects. If Hyper Voice kills, then that's the right play. If not, I guess you can still probably just try and keep this healthy. But I'd probably, I don't know. This thing's so weak, it's probably nothing you could have even done that was more valuable than protect. Yeah, he goes to Heal Bells. So yeah, Rome is kind of just throwing out all of Reggie's momentum at the moment. It is his only thing to wall. The Sceptile, but like this is where having Pharaoh or something would have been really good, because you come in on the Leaf Storm, you set up rocks, you leech seed things, really put yourself in a good scenario. Roma like comes in and keeps itself from dying, but then what do you do after that? If I'm Jolty, I'd probably make a double into Necrozma here, because I think the Tentacruel is fairly likely, and even if he doesn't go Tentacruel, there's nothing that this could do to hurt Necrozma. So I'd say that's the play. Wish is first. Respectable. If you wanted to pass into it. Yep. And Reggie gets the spin off. So had he gone hard Necrozma, he could have prevented that. Because yeah, he just could have prevented that from happening and kept the momentum a little bit harder on his side, but he's still in a good spot. Since he has Brick Break and likely Fight Z, I would think. Yeah, he'd likely Fight Z. That's the one I had. I wouldn't be too afraid of T-Tar coming in. I would just fire off a Photon Geyser really freely here. Brick Breaks. So maybe he doesn't have the Z, so he wants to keep T-Tar from coming in. which would make sense. Rotom takes nothing from that though, so that's pretty good for Reggie. He's probably going to fire off a Toxic, so I wouldn't want the Sceptile getting Toxic at this point, so I think Jolty will probably go into the Sylveon. But if he's confident he'll get a chance to Heal Bell later, which I think he will be, then he could stay in and try and get damage on this, or maybe go Sceptile too. Okay, yeah, Sceptile makes sense. Oh, he misses another Toxic. That sucks for him. You get to fire off a really free Leaf Storm. He's going to go into the Aroma, but then after that point, you can really take advantage of the fact that it's going to throw out his momentum. Or if you have a move that's like not Leaf Storm, like if you have Giga Drain or Energy Ball, you can click that into Leaf Storm. It goes Tentacruel. Yeah, Energy Ball, like I said. Okay, yeah, like I said at the beginning, Tentacruel could make sense if it's very specially defensive to help deal with this. It's likely got Ice Beam then. I think Jolty has to go into Necrozma, fearing the Ice Beam, because you can't risk this at this point. And the other two don't beat it. I think Reggie will probably fire off a Toxic knowing that. Acid Spray. Okay, there's some heat. This thing's probably too weak to take this down, though, if I'm honest. I think Jolty can fire off a pretty free Photon Geyser unless he doesn't have a way of dealing with this T-Tar, like I said before, which I'm not sure if it's true or not. I don't know what the point of Acid Spray was there if you're not going to go into, or not going to attack it afterwards. I think that was a really weird play from Reggie. If you're going to Acid Spray, then you actually need a move that you're going to follow up with, because Necrozma was super obvious there. So if you were going to Acid Spray, you need to have a plan of what you're going to do afterwards, because now, like, that Acid Spray just didn't do anything, because he's going to go into Sceptile. He's got no reason not to. Worst that can happen is he gets HP iced, which would suck for him, but it's not killing. He can always take that hit. And he can still even go Sylveon at that point. And the Toxic doesn't even give him that much because Sylveon's has Heal Bell, and Aroma's going to allow him to come in and click Heal Bell every single time that Sceptile Leaf Storms into it, and him going Aroma is the only way to keep Sceptile from claiming him on, so he either has to let him Heal Bell or let him claim every single time Sceptile's in. Photon Geyser does a million. Okay, he stays in to kill it again. Maybe he knows Volt Switch isn't doing too much for him. Okay, he tries to predict the Tyranitar. I guess I can respect that. I still probably would have gone Sceptile there, but I guess that play works out a little bit better for Jolty. I wouldn't want this Necrozma taking too much damage, because you start to become really vulnerable to things like Glade, and Glade, especially Tentacruel. Tentacruel becomes a massive issue if Necrozma gets too low. Now he goes Sylveon. I can respect that if he doesn't want this getting HPI, or doesn't want Sceptile getting HP Ice or Toxic. Yeah, I still think Sceptile was the better play because it covered him going T-Tar. It has a pretty good matchup against everything. It puts him in a better scenario. I think the only reason... No, he's revealed all his moves, so you know he's not HP Ice. So... maybe he was fearing Pain Split, but he's at a decent HP, so I don't even think that's a big deal. I think that was just the better play in general. He can Wish here pretty freely. I wouldn't make a double, or you can't make... he could Volt here. Yeah, I think the objective here, if you're Jolty, is to get into Sceptile, so you probably should have gone that in the first place. Hyper Voicing into Tentacruel doesn't get you much. I'd probably just wish. And then pass it into the Necrozma. Okay. I don't know about that play. It was more like you want Sceptile in against Rotom more than you do against the Tentacruel, and Tentacruel was obvious there. If you're that, yeah, I think it was just a weird play. Maybe he expected Volt heavily there, which makes sense, but Reggie didn't want to fuck around with giving this boosts, which I understand. So I guess that's what he wanted. Maybe that was the plan of going Sylveon in the first place, was to try and bait the Volt Switch into giving us a boost, which I guess could make sense, but I think this thing doesn't even need boost to start claiming. You could definitely have to fear the HPI, so you have to go Necro. Necro's concerningly low because he left it in against Rotom, but... Oh, what? This is a water type. Surf probably kills this. Why don't... I'm not going to open up the Calx, but I'm like... This thing doesn't have good defense, so like, I don't understand why this thing has no attacks to actually capitalize on its Acid Spray. I think this Mudsteel should have died this turn. This thing has already revealed Heavy Slam too, so that's not very good for Reggie. Yeah, why did he... Okay, I'm confused. Yeah, if you're going to run Acid Spray, actually run moves to kill things after you Acid Spray them. And he revealed Heavy Slam already, so that just died for nothing when you have a Rotom. So I'm not sure what's going on there. He's probably going to go with Rotom now. Yep. This is still not a good scenario for him, though. You can't Volt, and pumping into Sceptile is really bad, especially since you have no Pharaoh, so you have no way to check that. And your one thing that could take moves from it, you just threw out. So yeah, Reggie's in an awful scenario now. Like, he was in a pretty bad scenario most of this game because he didn't have Pharaoh or anything that put Jolty in a bad scenario, but the past, like, 2 turns just put him in an atrocious scenario. I would say you probably have to make the double to Glade here, but I feel like Reggie's just going to pump, and Sceptile's going to come in. Toxic, okay, I can make sense if you want to at least put Sceptile on the timer, but I don't think it was worth it. I think Jolty should have just gone hard into it. No reason not to at this point. He's shown he doesn't have HP Ice, and he's got no switch-ins left. I would have just started firing away. I don't know, I guess he'll either heal Bell or Wish here. Yeah, heal Bells. You either go Mudsteel or... Yeah, you probably just have to go Mudsteel because I don't think this kills. Oh, yeah, I don't like that play because Stealth Rock was a possibility, and I don't like Sands up, so that doesn't even gain you HP. I would just Hyper Voiced. Maybe he was afraid of Band, I guess. No, he has a Chople, so no, I can't understand why you'd protect there. I would have just Hyper Voiced or gone into Mudsteel. There's just nothing to gain there, and the possibility of Stealth Rock. So that's a play that really lost him momentum for nothing, especially because I don't think he has a Defogger. So that's pretty bad for him. Yeah, he's going to get to kill off the T-Tar here, which means Necrozma's going to be able to click Photon Geyser all day. Although this Sylveon's getting a little too weak, he'll probably have to go into Mudsteel, because I wouldn't risk this. Or yeah, especially because Sand goes before Leftovers, you'll be dead to Stone Edge. You can probably Wish up later though on probably just Rotom. It's actually a pretty bad scenario. I think probably going Mudsteel in the first place was the safest play all around. We'll protect. Oh, I forgot what the Sandstorm. Okay, he's able to get out of range. That protect was a good protect. Now he can Wish and then protect and stay out of range. So I guess that makes the first protect worth it in the end. Do this stalling the Sand, which if that was in his intention, I guess that's solid. but that's a pretty tough play to think of. He's just going to need to probably just spam Wish Protect until he misses, because Stone Edge is not an accurate move. Or until you just get to full naturally. Yeah, at this point, you're basically full. You can fire off a Hyper Voice. I really would have liked to see Reggie go into Tentacruel there, because he's throwing out his T-Tar, but like, you're not gaining anything from this. You know exactly what he's going to do. Like, you're losing your T-Tar for no reason. Okay, I guess he really wanted to get the Toxic off, but like, this is Heal Bell. You just lost him on for no reason. He's going to ask the spray again. Yeah, you can just Wish straight into the Necrozma, and this was an obvious play, but like, yeah, Reggie knows it's obvious, but there's nothing you can do about it because this Tentacruel doesn't have moves. Yeah, he has to eat a Photon Geyser now because T-Tar's down, and yeah, there's just no way for Reggie to win from here. Okay, I don't know why you would. It was a really bad play from Jolty. You need to keep this Tentacruel around for you need to keep this Necrozma around for the Tentacruel, and you've got a Sceptile which absolutely fucks him and doesn't give a fuck about what this Rotom clicks. And I don't understand why you wouldn't go to it there. So yeah, you lost Necro for no reason, which is going to make this end game harder. He wants to keep the sack, I guess, so he goes Muds. Okay, it's got the tech HPS. Okay, what? Why would you do that? I don't get that play right there. Reggie doesn't have too many reasons to switch at this point. If this is Rock Polish, you actually just choked. Okay, it's not Rock Polish, but Jolty nearly throws the game out right there. He played very poorly around this Lando. Yeah, if this was Double Dance, he probably ended the game right then and there. So definitely a close call, and definitely should have played that better. And I don't understand why he would ever throw his Necro out at that point when he really had no reason to. But since Reggie's not Double Dance and only Single Dance, Sceptile should be able to close this game. Yeah, this is going to take way too much. I would have Energy Balled into that. Energy Balled into Leaf Storm. Because Energy Ball probably kills Rotom. Or, if it's Lando, okay, if Lando, I forgot that that's Lando and not Rotom. If Lando needed the Leaf Storm to die, then yeah, that's a respectable play. But yeah, that's not doing quite enough. So he's probably going to have to go Muds here. Oh, never mind. Maybe it was a low roll, and Jolty knew that. Yeah, I guess he just wants to sack this. Yeah, I guess this is the right amount to sack. Because you want the Mudsteel for the Lando. And then you'll be able to... I guess... No, this was a bad play. No, if you just commit to the sack on... Sylveon. Because this doesn't really... I guess it works out. But, like... If you got burnt there, you were in a really bad spot. If you got a better roll, I don't think that thing... I guess you knew its investment from the acid sprays, so maybe if he was really confident he would live. But even then, I wouldn't have risked the burn. I would have just committed to Sylveon sack, came back in and won the sack war with Sceptile. But in the end, yeah, Sceptile is just going to be able to come in and claim. He should Energy Ball here, yeah. Yeah, this game's pretty much over. I don't know why you wouldn't Energy Ball there if two Energy Balls killed. This thing better have HP Ice. I don't know, maybe Leaf Storm kills from this point. No. I don't know why he didn't Energy Ball twice then, because he could have won with a bit better differential, but whatever. See, that's the game. Reggie did not bring anything that really put Jolty in a bad scenario, and didn't bring the Ferrothorn, which really allowed Sceptile to not have switch-ins and do a number on him. The Tentacruel set Acid Spray was cool, but it like didn't have anything worthwhile to follow up with after the Acid Spray. So it really didn't do anything the entire game, and really just threw out the momentum. Same with the Aromatisse. On Jolte's side, I think he should have got his Sceptile in much more often, given how big of a threat it was, and should have played his Tauren much more carefully. And I think throwing out the Necrozma late game and his play around the Landorus was pretty poor as well. And on Reggie's side, I think Double Dance Landorus was probably the bring. And had Double Dance Landorus come, it actually would have put in a lot of work. Actually, with this, if this was Roar, Roar Mudstill, then I can understand Jolte's play around that Landorus a lot better, because Jolte does bring Roar Mudstill a lot. But yeah, so yeah, that ends this really long video. But hopefully you learned something from it, and I'll see you next time.